Thank you for joining me again today on Geezers of Gear, episode number 228. Today's podcast is brought to you by ACT Entertainment. ACT is North America's leading supplier of the entertainment industry's principal products to professionals across 6 different end markets, including professional lighting fixtures and lighting control equipment, audio, video, fiber, and power distribution, cables, connectivity, metalwork, custom manufacturing, and design. With ACT Entertainment, you get the industry's top performance products, as well as service, education, and engineering support to bring every entertainment professional concept to reality. Visit their website at www.actentertainment.com. And this episode is also brought to you by GearSource, founded in 2002 with a mission to help global live events businesses move gear around the planet. Since that time, the company has transacted in more than 100 countries and has sold $250 million in sound, lighting, staging, and video gear. Now GearSource has completely evolved its platform for massive global growth, enabling 14 localized currencies, payments held in escrow to protect buyers and sellers, AI-powered logistics behind a new global logistics brand, GearMoves, and so much more. Visit GearSource.com today and expand your access to global markets for your gear and global gear for your markets. Hello, and welcome back to Geezers of Gear, episode number 227. I got things dinging all over the place here, and I've got it set on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what's going on. And today's guest got a little anxious and was trying to pop in 45 minutes early, so I got that one buzzing too. But anyways, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming back. Did you check out that Creech episode? It was fun. Creech is always fun, of course, and appreciate having him on for the second time. Look forward to having him on a third and fourth and fifth time. Always a lot of fun with Creech. And so if you haven't checked it out, go and check that one out. I think it's 226 probably. Came out a week ago. Anyways, it's been really popular, as a matter of fact. We're getting lots and lots of downloads on that one, some great comments and stuff. So yeah, it's fun. Speaking of downloads and just things picking up a lot right now, it's fun to see, but YouTube is something that we really started with, actually video in general. We just started with about a half a year ago, 6 or 7 months ago. And just been playing with it, trying to figure it out. We started out with 1 or 2 views on videos and 10 views and 20 views. And I mean, now it's getting to a point where, like, yesterday I looked at one of the videos and it had 6,000 views in just 24 hours. So, I mean, we're getting thousands of views, and it's pretty exciting in such a small industry and niche industry as ours to see that kind of an audience. So thank you to everyone who's paying attention and watching and listening to the podcast. We appreciate that very, very much. And so today's guest should also be one that'll go a little bit viral. He did last time. He's always fun. He's always entertaining. And we're excited to have Rocko Reedy back on the podcast. He was on in 2021. I can't tell you what episode number it was, but you can always search and find it. And of course, a lot has happened since then. And, in 2021, Rocko was in an interesting place because he was very nervous about COVID. He had some issues, some health issues that he was dealing with, and therefore, was definitely on edge, and he showed it on our podcast. We talked about it quite a bit. But anyways, Rocko was stage manager for 30 years for U2, and just finally recently he visited the Sphere in Las Vegas, where he got to watch the gig, watch the show in the Sphere from front of house mix position. So first time he'd ever watched the show from the front, watched a U2 show from the front as a punter and as a fan, and watching the faces, the band's faces. Usually he was at the side of the stage as the stage manager, but he spent the whole day with Jake Berry and with the band and crew. And, we want to talk about that. Apparently that was a very emotional and pretty amazing homecoming for him. So look forward to having that conversation. And Rocko's also continued making music. And if you follow him on Facebook, you'll see all kinds of cool stuff that he's been doing. I really loved his, oh God, I can't remember what song it was, but he's done some really cool cover songs. Neil Young, Old Man, that was a pretty good one. There was a bunch. But his most recent was a very cool rendition of Sex is on Fire by Kings of Leon. And he uploaded that on Valentine's Day, appropriately, applicably. And you can check it out on his YouTube channel or on his Facebook page. So let's go ahead and get this going. Okay, it's just me and you, Rocko. That's it.
That's what they said in court.
and we're recording now, so you got to keep the, you got to quit flipping me the bird and stuff. Rocko woke up in a mood today.
Did you just give me the finger?
I did.
Okay.
It's official.
But it's okay if you're just explaining something. Okay?
Yeah, I was just explaining what you were doing to me. You woke up in a Rocko-friendly mood.
I'm always in a Rocko-friendly mood.
Yeah. So we got a lot of things to talk about because you sent Sarah some stuff that I looked at and was intrigued and want to talk about that. We're not going to go through your life story because we did that last time. So people, if you're here for Rocko's life story, go back to the previous episode way back over there that we did in 2021, where we talked about all the cool stuff you did, 45 years in touring. But you only look like 50 years old, so how did that happen? Right?
Clean living?
Yeah. Well.
No.
Yeah, I think really alcohol and drugs and all of the stuff that we do in this business it pickles you at some point. Like it protects you from bad stuff. I don't know. No,
well,
that's totally
I'm a
false.
big believer that chemistry has a great deal to do with our metabolism.
Yeah.
And your body is an amazing thing and it will adapt to virtually anything.
Yes,
which is why the species survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get up to an 8-ball and a bottle of Jack a day, your body adjusts to it.
Yeah.
And when you give it up suddenly, oh yeah, that was me. That was the day before I went into rehab. Yeah.
You know Wiseman, I'm sure. John Wiseman.
Yeah, very light John Wiseman.
Yeah. Because John's been on the podcast a couple times, very good friend of mine, and we spoke at length about his habit and the fact that, he almost died and borrowed money from his parents, after being so successful in all of these lighting companies and stuff, borrowed money from his parents to go to rehab and save his life. And but he was there too. He was, half ounce of blow and a bottle of Jack a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not conducive to a long and healthy life in most cases. But, I know a few people who are having long, healthy lives.
My personal opinion of it is, that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Yeah. And I think going through that, I've often wondered, well, what would happen if I never did drugs or alcohol or anything like that? And I think I wouldn't have wound up being the person that I am.
Yeah.
Because you have to face adversity to become resilient to it.
That's 100% true. I mean, it's just like your immune system, and I know that you probably have differing views on this one, but your immune system, if you wash your hands 42 times a day and use sanitizer and wear gloves and wear masks and wear body suits and all of this stuff, at some point, Jesus Christ, Rocko, at some point you're gonna like the smaller bugs that weren't gonna get you before now get you because you've become so you know I don't know, your immune system I think needs to exercise, and maybe some of that pickled stuff inside your body needs to exercise too, like it
Yeah.
needs to.
I don't want to get too deep into the subject, but it brings up an important point. When we started that whole COVID thing,
Yeah,
I actually invented this helmet
I
that
remember
covers.
you
Yeah,
showed it to us on the first
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. And it worked. I didn't get COVID through the entire thing. But also, I used to get 2 colds a year,
Yeah,
and I believe that the common cold, there's a reason why there's no cure for it, is it puts your immune system into gear and makes sure everything still works,
yeah.
puts everything through its paces and stuff.
Hmm.
But I haven't had a cold in 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't wear the mask anymore, but I
Yeah.
also don't spend a whole lot of time in big crowds of people. The only thing I've done recently in big crowds of people is February 2nd. I actually went out and saw the U2 show.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to talk to you about that one too. But
Yeah, we'll
but
get
the
into it.
thing
But
I think yeah, the crowds of people is a big deal because like the first concert I went to after COVID was a friend of mine was working with Dave Matthews Band and bugged the hell out of me. And I'm not a Dave Matthews fan, but my girlfriend and I went. We both got COVID, and we had to sign all kinds of things, and we had to wear masks because we were going backstage to the meet and greet thing, and and we got COVID. So
yeah,
you know, I the crowds, but I think the airplanes are the worst. Like I think flying on planes and hotels and all of that stuff. That's where airplanes. Like I always got sick on airplanes in the past.
hmm,
I just
who
think that.
knows?
Well, they just circulate that crappy air, and everybody's sick and coughing and blah blah blah. But anyway, I want to get
Yeah,
off
but you
COVID.
ever
I'm
notice
tired
when
of
you fart on a plane, nobody can smell it?
it. I haven't. Remarkably, that's not something that I've noticed.
No, you will from now on. Trust
Yeah.
me.
I'll check it for sure. Like
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
definitely test that one. I'm
yeah.
I'm
Well,
one of those people who's a little too I don't know. I can't fart on a plane. Like I would just feel really bad. Like it had come out real loud and everybody'd be like, it was him. It was that guy
oh
right
no, no,
there.
no. When the flight attendant comes down the aisle with her little cart and everything like that, would you like something to drink, sir? I always just go, pull my finger.
You want to hear the worst thing. And it happens like every time I go to Atlanta. You know how Atlanta
Oh,
has
I'd
like the
love to hear the worst thing. Yeah,
the
go ahead.
world's longest escalator or the is it called it? Yeah,
Yeah.
escalator in Atlanta airport, like that goes from the trains
Oh, yeah,
up
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to
I know what
the
you're talking
moon
about, right?
practically.
Yeah.
It never fails. Every time I'm going up that escalator, somebody in front of me drops one, right? And you got to ride the escalator through this person's fart, and you don't know, it's one of those three guys right there, but you don't know which one. And ugh, I hate it.
I always raise my hand and go, "It was me.
Hey,
It was
everyone.
me."
And take a bow, look
Yeah.
backwards
Well,
below
well,
you
no,
in the
because then
escalator.
the guy who actually did it turns around and is like, "No, you didn't. It was me." Because then, yeah, and they
Everybody
go,
wants
"I
to
was,
claim it.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
well, yeah,
beauty. Yeah,
yeah."
Jesus. I'm
All
the
right,
other
so
guy.
can we get serious here for a minute?
Okay.
Uh,
Thanks, Rocco. That was good. I
Okay.
liked that serious moment. So what are you doing now? Like not right
Well,
now, but
well,
in general.
for the longest time, I didn't use the R word, retired,
Yeah.
because then then people think you're dead or whatever. But
Yeah.
then I realized, for me, it's I didn't lose the passion
Yeah.
to keep going on the road, but to be quite honest, I've done enough.
Yeah.
And I have so many stories and everything like that, but I don't think my experiences were done. I just think my body physically told me you're done.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wait until I was bending over, putting a yellow gaff tape arrow on the ground to die.
Yeah.
I'd rather do something a little cooler than that,
Yeah.
skydiving, some shit. But
Yeah.
just
No,
that's
I
not
get
the way
it.
I want to go.
Unfortunately, not everyone comes to that realization. Like a lot of people just literally die on the road. They just keep going till they die.
Well, people our age too, they make this, you know, self statement to the admission to themselves that they didn't plan ahead properly. Nobody ever does.
Yeah.
Nobody. They say, oh, you should have $1 million in a bank, right? You know, right.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I had $1 million in a bank, I'd go back and do a blow again because
Yeah. No
then I
kidding.
could afford it. No, but it's just,
That's
but by the
hilarious.
same token, if you've got problem that money can solve, you got no problem. I
That's
don't know
very
about you,
true.
but I get envelopes every day with banks wanting to give me $50,000 at 47% interest. But
Yeah.
you know, people, we've been a credit society for hundreds of years. So when I die, I want to be extremely in debt,
Oh my
extreme.
goodness. So you have no kids?
Only furry ones.
Furry ones, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because I mean that's the challenge with dying in debt is they do try to collect it from somebody else.
yeah, I
It's not
know.
like they just go away. Yeah.
Well, and my wife is a lot younger than me, so
Oh
but
yeah.
she,
Well, there's the
she's
problem.
well, she's an attorney though, so she can get out of anything, so or into anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
no, it comes down to where you have to decide. Well, what do you want to do with the rest of your life
yeah.
when you
Yeah.
do say retire? So what I did was right now I'm in my basement, and in my
Yeah.
basement I have a studio.
Yeah.
And you know how you say to yourself, someday I'm going to dot 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 and
Yeah.
give yourself a goal or so. Well, I decided that I was going to figure out how to use Logic, which is Apple's Pro Tools,
Yeah.
and use a video editing software, which I've chosen a Chinese company called Wondershare Filmora.
Okay.
And I come down here, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I spend 8 to 12 hours a day down here
Wow.
watching YouTube tutorials of how to do this stuff. And I've
Interesting.
also, through my research into this, I've found that the best tutorials to watch, and you have to go deeper into the internet to get to them all, but are from uh, Indonesian 17-year-olds
Wow.
because they don't speak a lot of English, so they get right to the point. They don't bother with it. Oh, ring my bell and sign up and subscribe, and here's my latest project.
Yeah.
Gonna listen to that horse shit. They
Yeah.
just get right to the point and tell you how to do it. And they know how to do it because kids' minds aren't clouded with junk. They just
Yeah.
focus.
Ah,
And they've not
interesting.
only figure out how to use the program, they figure out cool shortcuts and cool things to do where you mix effects to get a different effect.
Yeah.
So I'm just having a blast with that.
I'm going down the same rabbit holes on AI right now. Like, have you got
Yeah,
into any AI tools for recording or anything?
a bit, but I find like I've been trying to do the animate yourself or turn yourself into a cartoon thing.
Yeah.
But all the software for that, what they do is a drug dealer. They like you sign up for the thing, and then they give you points
Yeah.
with your subscription. And with your
Okay.
subscription, this one had 320 points. You got to go, okay, great. So then I made 10 seconds worth of stuff, and it ate up 300 points.
Oh, so it costs real money.
Yeah. So, and that was $7. So it's that old thing. Oh, well, it's only $7. Like,
Yeah.
anytime I buy a toy for myself, I think of how many grams of blow it would have been,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
as far as the price to it.
That's funny.
So, and I'm sure the technology will get better
Yeah.
and quicker and faster and less expensive as we go.
Well,
So,
the challenging part isn't necessarily even using the stuff because I finally paid for Chat GPT because I was using it for free and I was just doing the really basic write me a blog about this. And it was all bullshit. It was all really bad quality. Like nobody wants to read this. It looks like it was written by Chat GPT. And what it all comes down to, the magic of these GPTs is your prompting, how you prompt it. And you have to talk to it like a human. And there's a whole setup to that. So it'll start by saying, um, act like you are a video editor for a rock and roll band or for MTV videos. Act like you are so you're setting up what their role is, what the AI's role is, and what you want it to behave like. And then you give it very specific instructions. I want a video that does this, and then it does this, and it's going to be based in the country, and it's going to be la, la, la. And then, like, so there's a whole process to how you prompt it. And I'm just practicing and I'm getting better and better and better at it. And I find that when you can ace it, it becomes like your best employee. Like it literally is your assistant. It does so much stuff, but you got to know how to ask. And it's mostly about talking to it like a human. It's really crazy like that. Like,
Well, just talk to it and go, okay, I want you to sound just like Vivek Ramaswamy.
and that works.
I know it does,
Yeah.
and it's suddenly everything becomes very enunciated. Something becomes very smart sounding, but something then your whole computer system does
Yeah.
nothing but put Trump ads on. So
Well, but you know what though? Like one of the things I did when I first got ChatGPT, you ask it, tell me why Donald Trump is bad, and then you say, tell me why Donald Trump is good,
yeah,
and then you can set it up and you can say, okay, act like a Republican and tell me why Donald Trump is bad. Act like a Democrat and tell me why Donald Trump is good. And you can mess with it and you really get some interesting information out of it. So that's the thing. Like that was the thing I didn't understand when I first got ChatGPT, and I kept telling people, I don't get it. I don't get this AI thing. But it's all
yeah.
down to the prompts. It's how you ask and what you ask and how you lay it all out. And I mean, I'll give you another example. So we just started doing YouTube mid last year, like probably September of last year, for the podcast. We started adding YouTube into it as well, and therefore recording video. And so, we learned about this thing called shorts. And I'm sure you know what YouTube
Yeah.
shorts are. Like I've seen them, but I didn't know how to create them. So we went and learned how to create shorts. Sarah and I figured it out. And we were like, oh my God, we've seen, Jesus himself. Like this is incredible. And so, but it was a lot of work. Like I'd record a podcast with you, and then it'd take me 2 hours to go and clip like 5 or 6 shorts out of it, so that we could play these shorts. Well, we found an AI app that basically watches your podcast based on like it looks for a hook first, so it's looking for an idea or a concept that is strong, and it's weighing everything against what goes viral on YouTube.
Hmm.
And so it finds clips, basically. It captions those clips really nicely. It repositions us like on top of each other, you big, me smaller, because you're the guest or whatever. Like it does all this stuff automatically. And within like a minute, you've got like 10 clips. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, you want to know why? And this is not a conspiracy theory, but boring story short, I know a lot of extremely smart people. Um, what's going on with AI and what's going to happen with AI within the next 10 years, if not faster, because everything goes exponentially as far as the progression of technology, is AI is studying us. And not because it wants to take over the world like in Terminator or something like that. It's studying us because it wants to serve us better, believe it or not.
Okay.
But what it's going to come up with within the next 5 to 10 years, and it will make a lot of people completely get off the internet, is there will be a development of what I'll call, for want of a better term, a bullshit filter.
Okay.
It will be a flawless lie detector. So anything you put into it, whether it's verbal or written or printed or whatever, it'll tell you if it's the truth or not the truth.
Does it just start flashing on your forehead, fucking liar, or something like that?
No, but
Lying bastard.
think about it. If people couldn't lie anymore, well, think about FaceTime. Okay,
Yeah.
do you use it?
Yeah.
Okay, you use it because you're in the media. Do you use it with your friends and family?
Yeah.
Okay. People in general don't use it because it takes away the bullshit ability.
That's interesting. That's
I can't,
part of the
I
reason
can't,
why I use
I,
it, by the way.
exactly. I can't talk right now. You're in a bar, but I can't talk right now. I'm in a meeting.
Yeah.
Whatever. It takes away the bullshit factor.
Yeah.
What AI will do is, by just, if you put something into it, it will tell you if it's bullshit or not. You have to ask it for it to give the answer, and you
Yeah.
have to use it. But somebody, it could be, while you're having a conversation like this underneath my thing, and go, this guy is totally lying. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
So
hilarious.
So how big would that be in Washington, first of all?
Well, that's for sure. All of that stuff is coming. Like that kind of
Yeah.
thing is absolutely coming. And already like you're seeing live translators, for example. So now instead of having a translator talking to someone, you just listen to headphones, and in real time, it's translating whatever is being said in whatever language to whatever language you want to hear. Right, real
Yeah.
time. Like there's almost no delay on it. It's so ridiculous,
Yeah.
and I've seen it working. And yeah, I mean, I think what happened with these AI companies, they started with some of the easiest stuff first, but I think they have a plan that's way the hell down the road, and people are going to freak out when they realize what's really going on. And
Yeah, but the technology turns over so quickly, and people, things come and go. Things people find shocking one day, the next day are trendy, and 2 weeks after that, they're fucking gone. You know.
well, AI ain't going anywhere. And
No, no, but
so,
I'm just saying the technology and the
yeah,
people's ability to use it or reject it.
Though, it's like a gun. It's like certain drugs. It's like it depends on whose hands it's in, right? So AI in the hands of really good people, well-meaning people, is a very powerful tool. AI in the wrong hands, again, just like a gun, you can use it to save yourself, to kill an animal that you plan to eat for dinner or whatever, or you can use it to kill people and steal stuff, or you can be killed by it. But so it depends whose hands it's in. Like that's the thing that freaks me out a little bit about AI is there's just as many bad people creating AI as there are good people right now, and they're creating it for bad things, right? What are you pointing to me for? I didn't do it. Jesus Christ. Or were you
Sorry.
saying pull my finger? Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to that again. I,
Okay.
you know, on my bingo card this morning, I didn't have Rocco and Marcel talking about AI. Yeah, we're talking about AI, and then all of a sudden, sound goes crazy and it does something that I've never had happen before where my mic was dead and you guys could still hear each other. That was crazy. Nuts.
Yeah. Never happened before.
It's never happened before. I swear, it's never happened. Like, I mean, people's mics go dead, they unplug it, their AirPods die, they lose internet, whatever. But I've never lost my sound. It's never happened once. It's so bizarre. Anyways,
Hmm.
no more
Hmm.
discussing AI. AI is good. Thank you, AI. Thank you, AI gods. Please give us more AI. We love AI.
Oh, stop licking its balls for fuck's sake. Okay. Let's all right, let's pretend like we're just starting the interview. Good morning, Marcel.
Good morning, sir. How are you today,
Good
fine sir?
morning, Sarah.
Yeah,
How's my hair? Is it okay?
it's fabulous. Your hair's got to be
Okay.
fake. It's fake, right?
Uh-uh.
No
No, it's
plugs or
me.
nothing.
Nope.
Really? You dye it
That's
though.
the well, yeah, because otherwise it'd be really gray.
Yeah, you'd have silver hair.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
enough of the hair, Rocco. Jesus Christ.
All right, but I have to tell you where that comes from.
What?
When you're on the road dealing with internationals, people from all over the planet,
Okay.
and people tend to get very passionate about when they have something to bitch about. Sorry, I should shut this off. So then somebody comes up, for example, an Irish guy. Not that I work with Irish guys much, but
Yeah.
when they come up and they go, Rocco, the guy came in through the thing, and what are you going to do about it? And I go, how's my hair? Does it look okay? In other words, it
uh,
doesn't fucking matter, all right? All that
yeah.
matters is my hair. So
You're
just
you're
get
just
over it.
diffusing the situation, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's plug it back in.
So
Ask your first question.
I want to hear about your U2 experience. So, just to remind people, you worked for U2 for like 30 years or something, right?
Hmm. Yep.
As stage manager the whole time, or was that just where you ended up?
No, I was their stage manager from Zoo TV on,
Wow.
and so what happens? The admission, because it's not a secret, is that I was in New Zealand in 2019. We were about to start a tour of Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Japan, and India.
Okay.
And the day before the first show, I had a stroke.
Wow.
Just out of the blue, all of a sudden, my whole left side stopped working. So fortunately, how lucky am I? We were half a mile away from the University of New Zealand, which has the finest stroke ward and research facility in the fucking world.
No way.
And they took me, yeah, and they took me in and they got me working without major surgery. I won't go through all the procedures of it because it wasn't fun, but they had to leave me behind because you can't fly when you have a stroke. And so it just suddenly left me alone on pretty much as far away from home as I can get.
No kidding.
And so
Wow.
you reflect and you think, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I decided at that point that I was going to come home and take a deep breath and admit that it's time to call it a career.
So you
So
quit
I did.
right before COVID.
Well, that was the thing is I got home, and as soon as I got home, I was starting to think about it again. Go, well, I feel pretty good, and I'm moving all right. And bam, and I was like, okay, thanks for the warning, God. You
Yeah.
didn't really have to take out the whole fucking planet to make your point with me, but
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah,
That's
but yeah,
wild.
that's when I went. So, but that was also the point where I decided I was going to start learning how to use Logic and video editing. So, but with being locked down and all the rest of that
Yeah.
and watching all of our constituents get very, very frustrated, I decided, well, I should use this for something for the people in our business. So I got involved with Live Nation, who at the time was doing a roadie relief, I'll call it. And they were in a nutshell, they were handing out $1,000 bills to roadies,
Yeah.
which is not a lot, but when you're a roadie and you're living paycheck to paycheck because you have drug habits, alcohol habits, and you buy a lot of guitars and stuff,
Yeah.
then $1,000 was a good stepping stone until you saw, because at the time nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Didn't have any idea how long this was going to last. They didn't have any idea how long we wouldn't be having shows. So I started making videos, first of all, to make people aware of the project. Second of all, to just have fun. And I went out and shot a lot of videos in empty venues,
Yeah.
just
So
because
is
I
that
could.
what
And I
that was
broke.
about? Was that because I was going to ask you, why are your videos always in empty venues? And is that basically to show what could happen? Like, we could go
Yeah.
back to empty venues again someday or
Well,
whatever.
no, that's what was happening at the
Yeah.
time. And so I just did it just to say, okay, it's still here. Don't forget about it. This is where we're from. And,
Oh, that's cool.
it, it,
That's cool
it
that you did that. I like that.
yeah, but I didn't want to, it's like you don't explain the punchline to the joke. You just
Yeah.
tell the joke,
Yeah.
And so I didn't put it out to people. I just put it out as I'm done, but I'm not giving up. So you
Yeah.
shouldn't either.
So
You know?
was your biggest video the Neil Young one, or were there others that were bigger than that? Because I know that one seemed to be pretty popular.
That's it. That did go pretty good, and
Yeah.
I had a blast doing that.
Yeah.
But all of these videos, the thing was, for years, for the 45 years I was on the road, I did a lot of music videos with a lot
Yeah.
of bands, and I would do some that had budgets that were six figures, you
Yeah.
know, that
Hmm.
that were just insanely expensive. So when I started doing these videos, I set out to do it as cheap as possible. So I was doing everything myself. The only thing
Yeah.
that cost me any money was for a qualified drone pilot, which I found this guy who's just phenomenal. And that, and occasionally just miscellaneous stuff. But I was spending tens of dollars rather than hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Well, you did
And
a
that was
great, you did a really great job. I mean, especially like audio quality. Your studio, you must have some decent stuff in there because the audio quality
Logic.
on your stuff is really good. And
It's Thank you, I appreciate that. But it's learning from 17-year-old Indonesian kids.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
are
it's
you
it,
doing all
it
the instruments on these
yeah,
recordings, or yeah,
yeah, everything except lead guitar. I
yeah,
have a buddy Chuck that I went to high school with, and he's one of those genius guys that worked for Microsoft for years and years, and just really excelled in it and stuff. But
yeah?
he's a fabulous guitar player.
Is he the guy that's on your Sex with Fire, the one that you just put out?
Yeah, yeah,
He's the guy that's in that video. Yeah.
yeah. Very clean cut looking dude. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't belong with you. Poor guy.
I know.
Like
that's that's
he's got to be sitting somewhere right now thinking, "Where did I go wrong? Like what did
oh
I
no,
do?"
not at all. Actually, I'm trying to convince him he needs to retire too because he's a year younger than me. And if he retired, then I could, we could do more stuff,
Yeah.
through green screen and just like this, just a
Yeah.
back and forth thing.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's, I'm doing what I want to do, and I can play leads. It's just my leads all sound like Neil Young,
Yeah.
just like my voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, you do a
so,
good Neil Young, that's for sure. Yeah.
well,
And
and I actually worked for him for a little while, and long story short, he saw the video, and it was right after COVID hit and all the rest of this stuff. So he was, I mean, the guy's extremely well off, but
yeah.
he was at home, and the word got back to me that he was like, I don't care, you know. I see Neil Young, he goes, right now they just cut off, live or Farm Aid from me. He
Yeah.
goes, but I don't care. I can put out records of stuff that nobody likes but me, and I'm
Yeah.
married to Daryl Hannah. My life doesn't suck. I don't give a
I
fuck
didn't know
about
that
your
he was
opinion.
married to Daryl Hannah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I
you
didn't know
know.
that. Wow. I mean, I'm sure she's not the Daryl Hannah we remember, from
Oh no,
Splash and
she
stuff,
still
but
she's no, she still looks hot. She looks
really?
great.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you allowed to say
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
I guess, it's a fact.
Well, the AI guys that shut off our sound might grab that little clip, send it to Neil Young, get you sued. Yeah.
Hey, I've been sued by bigger paychecks than him, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Good one.
Actually,
So,
one thing that I did happen to me is the best thing that I ever did, and the biggest response I ever got on a video was with Chuck. I recorded "Desperado" by the Eagles.
I remember that
Only I
one
had
too.
I told Chuck, I go, just throw shit on there that's, and that's what we like doing. I like to make it our own by just putting stuff in that you shouldn't,
Yeah.
sacrilegiously. So I go, just fill it full of leads from front to back, just
Yeah.
little tagline things. So he did, and I go, God damn, man, you sound just like Jeff Beck on this. And it sounded really good. So I said, let's do this as a tribute to Jeff Beck. And I put together a montage of very rarely seen Jeff Beck pictures and videos and stuff like that as a background for all of this. And we put it
Right.
up on YouTube. And it was on there for like 2 weeks and got like 6,000 hits. And then Don Henley put a cease and desist on me.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Because
You can't
yeah.
do a cover tune on YouTube?
Well, that's the thing is whenever I do a cover, I license it through TuneCore, which they do the check and everything like that, and they had no problem with me doing a thing because they call it a parody. Then
Yeah.
legally I could call it a parody just because I changed it so much with that.
Yeah.
But I think he was pissed off personally because I did it, and I did it as a tribute to Jeff Beck.
Oh. Huh.
And who knows, but
That's
and I
weird.
did it to as a tribute to Jeff Beck because right after we finished recording it, Jeff died, and I had worked with Jeff through the
Yeah.
years through many different
Yeah.
projects, and I absolutely love the guy. I was
Yeah.
devastated. But,
Huge loss, that one,
well, and
for
it's one
sure.
of those things where you never thought about, well, someday we're going to lose Jeff Beck, just like someday we're going to lose Paul McCartney, someday we're
This
going
is
to
the
lose Jimmy
hardest
Page.
thing about getting older is your heroes. When your heroes start dropping, like you just said, Jimmy Page, like when Jimmy Page and Robert Plant and, you know, I mean, Eddie Van Halen already died. That one crushed me, because I grew
Yeah.
up on Van Halen in a big way. But yeah, it sucks. It
But
sucks
but
when you
that's
lose heroes.
partially why I'm doing nothing but cover songs because I have original material, but
Yeah.
I don't I don't want to put it out as right now I'm in my learning stage of
Yeah.
learning how to record and how to get quality and put together good videos and stuff like that. And I could do it, but it's not like I'm going to start a new career as a rock star at age
Right.
70. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
like that just ain't going to happen. So I'm just having fun, but I also do cover songs because I like changing them and making them my own.
Hmm.
Because think about, like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and, all of the great composers from centuries gone by. The way they originally performed the songs, there's no recordings of.
Right.
But, the people and, through the years who document this kind of thing is orchestras have changed, excuse me, modified and changed all of those things through the years
Hmm.
and made it their own as time progresses, because a good song will always be a good song.
Yeah.
But 100 years from now, what will people still be listening to?
Yeah. It's true.
Probably the Beatles,
Yeah. It's true.
probably not Nicki Minaj,
Yeah.
but
Taylor
who's to
Swift.
say?
Can you
Well, yeah,
imagine
but who?
Taylor Swift on a classic rock station 50 years from now? I just don't
Well,
see it.
yes and no. I mean, I actually admire Taylor Swift a lot. I think she's a great musician. I think she's a great songwriter. But when
I think she's a
anybody
great
gets big,
businesswoman. You know, that's what
well,
she did.
actually, you know who the brilliant business mind
Her
is
mom,
behind her? Her manager.
her mom,
You know who her
isn't it?
manager is? No.
Who?
Her manager is Robert Allen.
Ah,
Robert Allen is the brother of one-armed drummer
yeah,
Rick
yeah,
Allen.
yeah,
He was tour manager for Def Leppard, which is how I knew him. And then he was out as tour manager for Tim McGraw and Faith Hill when a young 17-year-old girl came on as their opening act. And he was the one who says, I can help you,
I thought it was
and
her
did.
mom. Somebody because
Well, her
a
mom is definitely her, main influence and, protector and all the rest of it, and her
handler.
dad.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But Robert is he's a business genius when it
yeah.
comes to, and you get that from being a tour manager,
Well, he did
because
okay there because like she's made what $2 billion this in the past 12 months or something, like just an
yeah,
insane amount of
but
money.
but fame is a very fleeting thing. Keep in mind, how many examples are there through the years, within the last 10 years, of artists who came, were huge, and then bugger all for a moment. Case in example, that was LMA, or you laugh my ass off. There,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
right. They were huge, and then gone.
yeah,
21 Pilots,
yeah,
2018, biggest band in the world today, gone.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, it's hard to stay there for very long. That's for sure. Like
um, who was the other one? The one who became an American Idol judge, the woman. God, I'm drawing a total
not
blank.
J Lo because she's
No,
still.
the one who's still on it right now.
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch that show.
Katy Perry. Katy Perry.
Ah, yeah, she kind
She
of
was
went, didn't
huge.
she?
Super Bowl,
Y-
and then gone.
Yeah, that's totally true. I never thought about that. Like she really disappeared.
Well, but
I.
it's media. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's media control. 'Cause let's face it, that it was funny because at one point in time I had a conversation with Bono, and he was saying, I just don't think we're radio relevant anymore. I go, radio's not relevant anymore.
No, it's really
You know,
true. Yeah,
and it's like selling records is not relevant anymore because nobody buys records.
yeah.
Nobody. They might pay for a stream, but they get it as part of their service because they subscribe to Apple or
Yeah,
Spotify or one of the.
physical media doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. It's over.
Well, and you think about as far as the big picture in time, it was here and gone really fast.
Yeah,
Think about CDs. How long were
yeah,
they around?
yeah,
10
yeah.
years?
Well, it was more than that, but
Cassettes. You
yeah,
know,
cassettes. You know
but
what's
just
funny? Have you seen any of these videos on YouTube or Facebook or whatever where they go to young kids and hand them a cassette tape and say, "There's music on this. There's music on this. Can you tell me how to get the music off of it?" And like two
yeah,
kids are sitting there, like probably 14-year-old boys or whatever, right? And they're looking at it and spinning it around and holding it up to their ear and like just doing all kinds of things, trying to figure out how it's going to play music, this thing, right? And they are just completely clueless. It's hilarious to watch. And all I
yeah.
think of is putting the pen in one side of it and sitting there like this to rewind the cassette tape. But
Well, or like, if like that rocket that they sent out, the Voyager thing, and it had an actual album inside
oh,
of it.
oh yeah,
All right.
yeah,
But it's like, they send it out, and if a species or alien race finds it that's millions of years more advanced than us, how long is it going to take them to realize that they need to take a needle and scratch it?
isn't that funny?
You
Yeah.
know,
Or the
and
other
it,
one that I saw on one of these kid videos, like showing kids something from the past, is a rotary phone,
yeah,
and they offered them, I think it was like $100 or something, if you can make a phone call within 1 minute. And here's
yeah.
the phone number that you have to dial, right? And they're just like, what do you do? They have no idea how to work this rotary phone. And
But where I'm going with this conversation is that things turn over very rapidly.
yeah,
You know, for example, it used to be if somebody said, to me, a stranger, I'm a clerk in a store or something like that. Well, what do you do for a living? And they'd say, well, I work for you too. They were like, whoa, or what. But now what I find is, and especially after I came home and, was emerging after COVID, is anybody under the age of 30 has no idea who U2 is. Think about
You
it.
think?
Think about it. Well,
Yeah.
I have to say and then they think about it for a moment. And they go, "Oh, wait, that was that band that put that album in my iPhone that I can't get out."
Yeah, that's true
You know,
too. Yeah.
and that's so it's just perspective. Yes, you and I, we know who U2 is.
So, one time one of my employees came. I have a house up in Western Canada in a ski area. And so he wanted to, one of my employees came up there with me one time and we wanted to go skiing. He wanted to rent some skis or whatever. So I took him to a rental place. And it was a cute young French Canadian girl, probably 20, 21 years old, who was serving him there. And he goes, wait, you want to see how old we are? And I said, what are you talking about? And she goes, sir, what's your name? She's filling out the form. And he goes, Eddie Van Halen. And she goes, okay, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And your address. And he goes, hang on a minute. You don't know who I am? And she goes, yeah, you're Mr. Van Halen. And he goes, but that name doesn't ring a bell or anything? And she goes, no, just because you told me now. And he's like, he looks at me and he goes, see? And I'm like, damn it. Wow. Like Eddie Van Halen,
No,
really?
but it's relative perspective. People aren't stupid. It's not on their feed anymore.
But some of
And
that
that's
is
where
down to parenting because, like, myself, much of my family, and many of my friends brought their kids up on the same music we were brought up on for the most part, right? Like, my son loves hip hop and all that stuff, but he knows who the hell Eddie Van Halen is. He knows who U2 is. He knows who Def Leppard is. He knows all the classics.
Yeah.
So,
but it's they may know, but they don't necessarily participate in. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, no,
And
you're totally right.
Things turn over very rapidly and will continue to turn. And who knows in the next 10 years with all of this technology that's kicking into gear,
Yeah.
how far it will go and what people's priorities will be for that.
Well,
But I have always found that there's always a need for a simple song,
yeah.
And think about that. Well, what's a song from 100 years ago?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Well, or 200 years ago, Camptown ladies sing this song.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
and yet you don't know who wrote it. You don't know who performed it. You don't know anything about it. You just might know a song if it's something that was in a cartoon or a movie or something like that.
Well, Christmas music. What about Christmas music? Like, my girlfriend and I were talking about that this Christmas. We were like, have you ever noticed, like, every goddamn year you listen to the same 100 Christmas songs over and over and over and over again? Like, aren't there any new Christmas hits coming out aside from Mariah Carey? Like, is there nothing coming out in the Christmas genre? And it's true. Like, I mean, really, all the classics are the ones that get played over and over and over again, and they're all 100 years old or 80 or whatever it is, lots of years old. So
they aren't on the top four.
But
there you go.
The good news is like, social media has created such a frenzy for live music. And I've brought this up so many times, so plug your ears if you've already heard me say it 1,000 times. But a couple of months ago, Rapino from Live Nation did I think it was during an earnings call or something. But anyways, he came out with a story, an article on, it had to do with growth. Like, are you still planning to experience the same kind of growth over the next year or whatever? And he said, yeah, the growth opportunity is massive. And they're like, yeah, but how? Like, wasn't this just a surge after COVID and it's going to come back down again? It was just a bump. And he said, no, here's why. Like, all of these artists now have 10 or 20 million followers on social media. And he said, our job in the concert world is easy. All we have to do is sell tickets to 5% of them for an entire tour. And he's not wrong. 5% of a 10 million follower, country artist or something is only is 500,000 people, globally. Like, that's all he's got to do, 5%. And
Yeah.
so really does go to explain some of the drive behind this just massive appetite for live music that's still going on. Like I thought it was a COVID bump, but now it's something else. Like there's something else driving this right now. It's crazy.
Well, but think about it, and I've had this discussion many times through the years. Is since the Christians and the Lions, people need to come together in mass.
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't matter who's playing up on stage, which is why festivals are doing so well now post COVID, is because people just want to get out there, get fucked up, make idiots out of themselves in front of the opposite sex, and hopefully, score. But it
Never
almost doesn't
happens.
matter, Well, no, but you know what I'm saying? It's all
Yeah.
part of the social movement of what people do. It's like, people used to say, "What'd you do last week?" "Oh man, it was great. I went to this show and I got so fucked up, man. It was so cool. And next
Yeah.
week I'm going to another show and I'm going to get even more fucked up." You
Yeah.
remember those
I
days,
slept in mud,
right?
and
You
yeah, I
know,
showered
and
in toilets, I mean, it's
but it
just,
but it but it comes down to just the experience of socialization.
yeah.
And
No, you're right.
with the ad, well, I mean, you and I, we've never physically met, have we?
No,
And
not that
yet,
I'm aware of.
we can communicate like this,
Yeah.
and we can tell that we're very like-minded on a number of different points.
Yeah.
But and that's what people need, is they need to go out and find other shitheads like themselves so
Yeah.
they can be stupid
Well, and I
together,
think
you know?
when COVID took that away for a year and a half or whatever, people freaked out and just went, "Whoa!" Like that is
Yeah.
the biggest thing that you can't take that away from me again. Like the ability to see my friends and to congregate for music or food or whatever, like that. I think created, certainly the festival, the drive behind festivals. Because I remember before COVID, festivals were hit or miss. Like a few of them were doing really well, a few of them weren't doing so well, and it wasn't like it is today. Like now you could call it the fart festival and you'll sell 100,000 tickets.
Yeah.
It's
But
crazy.
think about, and look up any page relative to a festival and look down the lineup. 80% of the bands you've never heard of.
Yeah, a lot of
And
B bands.
that's not necessarily a bad thing, because anymore that's the only way you truly get discovered by a fan
Of
base, is
course.
by playing live in front
Yeah,
of
it
them.
ain't going to be the radio stations or whatever. Yeah, nobody listens to you know terrestrial radio anymore. I mean, that just doesn't exist. Like I'm
Yeah.
starting to wonder, why the hell do I have XM radio in my car? Like, am I paying for this? What the hell do I want that for? So I'm going to get rid of that too. It's just a waste of money and time and whatever. But so you finally got out to see the Sphere show, I heard.
Yeah, and it was a great day, great experience. I flew out on Friday and I flew home on Saturday. So I was
Okay.
just there for the day, and it was great because Jake Berry, my friend, my mentor, and my boss for so many years,
Yeah.
was very accommodating. A lot of the crew was still there. John Boss, who was my assistant on the past few tours, took over as the total stage manager because he's the perfect fit. And I thought it might be weird for me,
Yeah.
coming out there, but it was like a comfy shoe. It felt right. Everything was really nice. And the only bad thing was that the band was in the process of getting ready to shoot a video of the show with special cameras and stuff, because after they leave the Sphere,
Yeah.
they're going to put together a movie like an IMAX theater type of thing
Of
that will
course.
show is
Yeah.
built for the Sphere, and they'll show
Yeah.
that there. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, and you'll hardly
and
know the difference because I mean, as amazing as that show supposedly is, I haven't seen it, but I've seen thousands of videos and pictures and stuff.
yeah,
Like to me, the first time I saw a video, I had to look for like 20 seconds to figure out where the band was. Like I couldn't find the
ex-
band, you know?
and that was the only objection, if there was anything to the whole spectacle of it, is that it does who's on stage. The
Yeah.
show is the venue, you
Yeah.
know, and U2 is the perfect band to put on that kind of show. But for me, it was really strange because after 30 years of working for them, and it didn't occur to me until the second song, it's the first time I ever saw them from out in front,
Oh, that's wild. Yeah,
without
that's
headphones on, without lights going on, without being folk. For 30 years, I sat behind the drummer and stared at Bono's ass, waiting for something
Yeah.
to go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just, I mean, the show and their performance. It was emotionally, it was. I think I was quoted as saying, "I laughed, I cried. It was better than Cats." It
Yeah.
was,
I
just
can only imagine what that would be
yeah,
like, like
yeah,
for 30 years you worked for them behind the stage. You never
yeah.
saw it from out front. And now suddenly you were you know, you were an audience member. The rest of the
But
people.
the other thing that was unusual too was to see them there, and pretty much they were just performing a 30-year-old record,
Yeah.
Octoon Baby. And they put the major hits that you got of Streets and With or Without You and all that. And they were focused on this movie that they're putting together. So I only got to spend about 2 minutes with Bono, which I kind of regret.
Yeah.
But after spending 30 years from him, it's not like not
Yeah.
like we had a whole lot. What's new? Okay, well, I got new knees, a new ankle, a new hip, and I had cancer in my face. But other than that, what
Well,
have you been up to?
it's not like you're starstruck or anything. You've been around the guy for 30 years. So,
Well, and that has been part of the success as our relationship is I met them originally when they were an opening act for Jay Giles' band back in
really?
1980. Yeah. And they were horrible. They sucked, They were young, they were, just but they had this excitement. And
Yeah.
I knew that someday they were going to be big. And then in 1990, what was I doing at that point in time? Oh, I was doing Aerosmith, the Pump Tour. So that was right when I got clean and sober because I went through rehab with Aerosmith. And after I finished that was when I hooked up and started working with U2 again.
Wow. Hmm.
And the rest is kind of history. But I had always been that old roadie from Chicago,
Hmm.
and I had always been that guy. Everybody in the whole U2 camp whispers when they're around them. And, if you go into the dressing room, whereas if I go into the dressing room, I go, "Hey, where's B? Dude, I got to talk to you." You know, but I'm busy right now. I'm having dinner. Yeah, okay. Chew with your mouth closed and just listen. All right.
That's
and
crazy.
well, but when you're a rock star, you can't go into a 7-Eleven and buy a Snickers bar because you'd be mobbed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to be a fucking guy
Mm.
and just be a dude. And I've always treated them with respect. You have to maintain that employee-employer relationship, but I don't pull punches with them,
Yeah.
and I never ever lied to them. You know,
Yeah.
and especially one of my favorite answers to him is like, um, Bono came off stage and he was singing a Pavarotti bit up on stage, an opera piece, and he came off afterwards and he goes, "How did that sound?" And I go, "Well, at least you got sexy to fall back on."
That's a good one.
So,
That's really cool.
just if you approach life without lying to people, but by putting a sense of humor behind it, you can get away with saying anything.
Yeah.
That's why I
But
think, nothing against Trump or Biden, but I think the greatest president we could ever possibly elect would be John Stewart.
yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be funny, which was the same
Exactly.
thing, which, by the way, was the same thing before Trump got elected that I said. It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, goddamn, it's going to be funny,
Well, and that's the thing is,
Yeah.
is it will come down to entertainment
Yeah.
is what brings us forward as far as a society, because
Well,
that's what
and until recently, the good news was there were always checks and balances. There was always a backstop. Like they couldn't become tyrannical and just start nuking every country in the world or whatever because you had Congress and the Senate, and there were ways to keep them sort of contained. And a lot of that, like, I don't really want to get into politics, but I mean, the Constitution is such a smart document. It's like these people who wrote this thing were thinking of things that we couldn't have even dreamed up, 20 years ago, let alone today, or let alone 200 years ago. And here the people are thinking of all these things that we're going to try and do to each other and putting rules in place to keep us from doing those things, right?
Oh, you
Brilliant.
mean like the Second Amendment where they said, okay, everybody should have a gun, but keep in mind that a gun back then was a musket that you had to load with powder and put a
Yeah.
ball in. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe it's time to change and adapt, but I digress. Let's talk religion now. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Good idea.
No.
Good idea. But back to the U2 Sphere
Yeah.
thing. So,
Thank you.
like, are you so Mark Brickman, you know who he is, right? You know Mark.
Oh, very
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So one time on my podcast, Mark said he went and saw the Stones with the, the one with the big iPhones. I think it's the most recent tour, but it was the one with, like, it had four big iPhones on screens, LED screens, but they
Yeah.
looked like iPhones behind the stage. And, one for each band member, basically. And he said, it was beautiful. Like, those screens were really nice and stuff, but he said, I didn't like it. And I said, why? And he said, because that big, huge video screens, they made Mick look small. Like, when I looked at the stage, Mick looked tiny.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. And so when I looked at the Sphere videos, it made U2 look tiny. Like, they were literally hard to find. You couldn't find them in the videos that I saw until I finally went, well, duh, there they are. But even then, like, I mean, if look at this image behind us right now, and that's a pretty close up image, but it's still not easy to see that, that's Bono right in the center.
No, but think about the technology improvements,
It's
and
wild.
it's a 1080p to 3000p to 4K to
8K.
and
Yeah.
when you're over the age of 50, high resolution is not your friend.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true too. Yeah.
And that's what tends to happen. And the thing I found amusing about the Stones thing of the iPhones there is, think about any concert you've been to in the last 10 years. You look out at the audience, what do you see?
Yeah. Yeah. A bunch of
A
iPhones.
sea of people shooting the show with their iPhones. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I talk to designers about that all the time. Like, do you design for, a screen this big? Is that what you're
yeah,
designing your show for? Because if you think there's 10,000 or 12, 15,000 people sitting there watching the show in the arena, but there might be 3 million people watching it online by tomorrow, watching that video that the guy's recording on YouTube in the audience.
yeah.
So it's crazy. It is crazy. So I think last time you were on, you had just recently got a dog,
Yes.
and your dog's name is Bryn.
Wow. What an incredible memory.
Yeah. Well, it's not a memory. I have notes. Believe it or not, I do not have that incredible of a memory, but I do have good notes. And so, how's that going?
She's 4 now.
Wow.
So that's how long it's been.
Yeah, it was a few
And
years ago. Yeah.
and I gotta say that it was the coolest thing I've ever done. Was I decided, because I've always had a dog at home, to protect my wife and give her company, and so she only hates me once a day as
Yeah.
opposed to all day.
Yeah.
But having a dog and spending that much time during COVID, literally, she was with me 24 hours a day. She's over here right now, laying on the
Yeah.
ground. And she spends all her time with me, and I spend all my time with her, with the exception of when I went to that U2 show.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've been away from each other. And when she was a puppy, my hands were just ripped to shreds from her, playing with me as things as puppies do. But
Yeah.
now she pays attention to me. She's still willful. Any woman is like that, and
Yeah.
even more so with you. No, but I just she wants what she wants, and
Yeah.
she knows how to get me to do whatever she wants me to do. So
Yeah.
she's trained me well, but it makes you realize that there's more important things than what you see on your cell phone each day. And
That's
I was
so
going to say
true.
on TV, and having the look on that dog's face when she looks at me each morning and says, "I got to go out." It's
Yeah.
just, it makes you realize that's the most important thing in her world.
Yeah.
And animals, just, I won't get into the whole metaphysical thing about it, but animals don't judge. They love you
Yeah, it's very
unconditionally.
unconditional. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. And the thing that I don't like about animals, which is what most people love about them, is they need you. They
Yeah.
really they're dependent on you. And I mean,
Yeah.
at least a human grows out of that. A dog doesn't. A dog needs you from the moment he's born until the moment he dies, or she. And and so, you know, for me, I guess just with my lifestyle and everything else, I've just always avoided. You know, my ex-wife always had dogs, and my son has a dog, and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't. I've just never needed one. You know,
Yeah.
it's just not
It's
been
just
a thing for
it's
me.
I'm so glad that I did, because it taught me a lot about myself
Yeah,
and about my reaction to the world. There's a lot of hate out there in the
yeah,
world,
yeah.
and that's the thing that I don't like. And and there's a lot of mean people out there
Mm-hmm.
in the world, and I'm capable of being very mean. Trust me.
Yeah,
Ask any
yeah,
stagehand on the planet.
yeah, yeah. I'm
But
sure.
but it's what do you mean you're sure?
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, you worked for U2 for 30 years at a really high level. They played the biggest venues, and you worked with Jake Berry, and so I'm sure you had to
Yeah,
have
but you
some
know
thick
what? I
skin.
have to say that my years with you too was a lot easier, because we had a lot of people who would come in there, special guests. I never refer to them as support act or anything else like that. They're always special guests, and
Yeah.
I want them to feel that way, because you come in to the U2 world and it's intimidating. There's 200
Yeah.
semi trucks of equipment here,
That's great.
and when somebody comes in, I roll out the red carpet and I want them to feel special. Not only the band, but the crews and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just because they're expecting someone to just be a controlling asshole. When you come in and you give them, a comfy chair and a cup of coffee,
No, I heard that about you with opening acts. Actually, you took really, really good care of opening acts, support acts on
well,
tours.
because I remember getting shit on when I was working for small, and I never, I've been blessed. I've never really worked for a band just out of a, starting up.
Yeah.
I started with Styx right before they exploded in North America.
Nope. I'm talking. I was joking.
Uh,
I got you that time.
you did. Hang on,
I
let me
don't.
get this hook out of my mouth
This is
real
completely bizarre. Like I'm gonna have to get in touch with this company or something because it's not my
All
internet. It's
right,
not
I'm
your
going to get
internet.
to you very in 20 seconds exactly what's going on, because years ago when I had a choice in the road, I had a choice between a full boat scholarship to Loyola University for heliocentric theoretical astrophysics or being a roadie. And I was like, who gets more pussy?
Ah,
Roadie.
there you go.
But what's going on right now is that we're experiencing major coronal mass ejections from the sun, which are
Oh,
messing with satellites and telecommunication systems.
are you sure it's not just the leap year thing? Sarah says it's leap year.
Mm, no, I'm pretty positive it is going on there. Did you hear about AT&T losing their whole system a few days ago?
I did. Yeah,
That
I
was
did.
that was the cause, but they don't want to tell people that.
Well, yeah. And I think there's mixed opinions on that. I've seen a bunch of podcasts and stuff about it saying, you know, the
Well, the
opposite.
only thing is it was almost exclusively AT&T, and the only reason others experience it. Anyway, we don't want to go in that direction. Let's go back
Yeah.
to the subject matter here.
Yeah. So the roadies and rock stars thing, I watched that. Thank you for sending us the link, or I don't know if Sarah came up with it or whatever, but um, I hadn't seen his podcast before, so I started watching a couple of other episodes as well. But this guy that you, so just to set it up here, and people can go find this podcast, Roadies and Rock Stars, and find you can find Rocko on there, and or actually I might even just put the link in the show notes.
Are you talking about this Dimash guy from
Yeah,
Kazakhstan? All right,
yeah.
that was on the podcast run by Joel Miller called "Party Like a Rock Star."
Oh,
Yeah,
different one, not
yeah.
Roadies and Rock Stars.
I
Party
don't
like
know.
a rock star.
There's so many old roadies that have podcasts now,
Ah, so I was
but I
watching the
digress.
wrong. I went looking at the Roadies and Rock Stars podcast, and I'm like, I don't find the Rocco one anywhere on here, but I got the
Yeah,
link from Sarah.
yeah.
Um, so party like a rock star.
All right, and here's the scoop behind that. I did a podcast with him like this, where he's just interviewing old roadie, wanting to hear old roadie stories and shit.
Yeah,
And then he's a very creative kid. And he came up with this concept because he knew that reaction videos are becoming popular now.
yeah,
Where you have rappers that
two
watch Led
girls in
Zeppelin
one cup.
for the first time. Yeah,
Now we're losing you on internet.
yeah. But he goes, well, would you like to try this? And I was like, yeah, I'll try anything twice. I don't give a fuck. Come on. And and we're looking at videos mostly of Japanese heavy metal bands,
Yeah.
but also some Chinese and some Indonesian. But point being is nothing that you've ever seen in North America.
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated by that, with as many times as I've been around the planet, with artists that I discover that are fucking amazing, but you've never heard of them in America.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll get involved with that. But this
You
Dimash
used
guy,
you used to be able to go into import record stores and get all kinds of advice from the guy who owned the import record store, who'd be like, "Oh, you got to hear this Oxknox metal band from, wherever, Germany or something." And he used to just find the wackiest stuff. And obviously YouTube is so much more convenient, but it's also a bigger pool. Like you got to go fishing in a huge pond on YouTube and stuff. But
well, the thing a lot of people don't realize about YouTube is it's very it's divided. You won't see stuff on American or North American YouTube that people in South America see,
yeah,
or in certain parts of Europe. There is some cross pollination in some of it, but a lot of it is just picked out by AI.
yeah,
As far as what gets. Otherwise, you'd have too much stuff, and all the reference ones you get down the side of a panel when you look at any YouTube. Oh, also check these out, are just
yeah.
things where they're
No, they're writing algorithms to try and decide what it is you're looking for. And
yeah.
for the most part, either that or in some cases they're trying to force you into a certain direction or whatever. But
But that's why I liked what he was doing with that, and most of the comments he gets are from people overseas.
ah,
So that tells me that it's not shown through a lot of things. So that's why I put it on my Facebook page, just to see, let people know what I'm up to and see what kind of reaction people get.
yeah.
Because that guy's voice, I've never heard
Holy
anybody sing
shit.
that.
Like, yeah, this guy Dimash,
Yeah,
whatever. So go to Rocco's Facebook and or is it on your YouTube channel as well?
it's no. If you want to
Just on
find
Facebook?
it,
Well,
go
I
to
found it on Facebook, I think.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
on Facebook. My
Yeah.
Facebook.
But I mean there's this singer and where's he from? Afghanistan or something?
I always mispronounce it, so I wrote it down. It's called Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, and if you
So,
look, it's kind of like centered in between Pakistan and China and Russia, and there's a
yeah.
shitload of countries there that all end in a stan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, this guy just looks like somebody that'd be, either a valet at a parking lot or a
Oh, but
guy
he's a
serving
good-looking
you
kid.
food in a restaurant. But he looks very regular, right? Like he
Yeah,
just looks like a regular guy. He doesn't look like a pop star or anything. And he starts singing and he's doing like everything from, what is it like tenor to soprano or something, right? Like he's doing the low men parts of an operatic song or a classical song all the way up to the woman high parts
yeah,
and everything in between, and he's freaking incredible. Like
yeah.
that guy was just, he blew me away.
Well, my first comment afterwards was I asked the host if he ever saw the movie The Fifth Element
Yeah,
with Bruce Willis and
yeah,
that chick from all of the Resident Evil things. And there was a character in there that was an opera singer, alien performing, and she sang all this stuff where it was starting off real low and go up real high, just like
yeah,
he does.
yeah.
Only they did it all with, you could tell they did it with what was the thing that raises and lowers people's voice pitch,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you know. So they did it all with that because you could tell it was kind of robotic sounding. But this guy is the real deal. And from what I'm told, is he was originally discovered on some Russian talent show performing that song from Fifth Element.
oh really
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
and then got moved on from there. But point being, and there's tons of people. I used to work for a German artist called Marius Müller Westenhagen in 1995.
easy
You've
for you
never
to say.
heard of him.
No.
Yeah. But in Germany, this guy is huge. We would do like 3 nights in a stadium sold out. And we would only play in Germany and Switzerland because he was sort of like a Phil Collins, but sang in German.
Yeah.
So he was huge there. And the way I got the gig was kind of strange. It was because I was stage manager for U2, and it was I think Mark Brickman designed the show.
Oh,
You know, so
wow.
they had all these top shelf players and stuff. But I got the gig because I had done one show with David Hasselhoff,
Oh, no.
who also is huge in Germany.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a singer. Yeah, he could sell out stadiums there and stuff like that. And I actually went to high school with the guy, if you can
With
believe that.
Hoff?
So with the Hawk, yeah.
Oh, God.
I
Wow.
don't put it on my resume, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
But
no.
anyway, but I've always been intrigued by, artists that are huge in other parts of the planet because I've
Yeah.
been able to travel to these other parts of the planet. And also is incredibly interesting to me how many North American artists they've never heard of in Europe or South America or Africa or Australia. So, you know, Styx, huge in North America, couldn't get arrested anywhere else on the planet.
Yeah. Well, you know
Yeah,
what? I supplied a bunch of lighting for the Eagles. Had to be right around 2000 or 99 or something when they did a tour that started in Moscow. And Steve Cohen was the lighting designer. And so I went over for the start of the tour in Moscow. I had never been there. I thought it'd be cool to go or whatever. And it was a really cool experience. But opening night, they're playing, and I don't know if you've seen the Eagles live, but the different members will play some of their own hits as well, right? And
right.
so, um, over here, Joe Walsh steals the show. Like no matter
Yeah,
what, Joe Walsh goes out and goes down, 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 and everybody goes nuts, right? For any or
right.
Rocky Mountain Way or whatever. And over there, Joe Walsh would start Life's Been Good and everybody would sit down.
Yeah,
And it was dead silent. And I'm like, what the hell? And then Glenn Fry would start like the song from the Warriors, In the City or whatever.
yeah,
And it'd be like they'd go, or no, not even that one. What was the Glenn Fry song? Hot in the City or something? I don't remember, but it
yeah,
was some bad song. And and they went nuts. Like everybody went crazy. And I'm like, how did Glenn Fry break in Russia, but Joe Walsh didn't? Like that to me blew me away. Just
yeah.
weird.
It's just it was a different
Oh.
time.
Did you learn anything more about this Damash guy? Like, did you go down a Damash rabbit hole or was it a one and
No,
done?
no. Well, I looked up a couple of things, YouTube videos, and there apparently was an issue where people say, "Oh, he's lip syncing. He's not lip syncing. Whatever." It's
Yeah.
the guy is absolutely amazing, no matter what's going on with his
Mm.
performances and stuff.
Well, and he
But
made the
no,
song, whether or not he's singing it live, I guess. Like I definitely have a thing with backing tracks that I don't like a lot right now. Like I know pop bands have always done it and I've always written it off as, like if Madonna's got to run around the stage dancing and doing all these crazy things, if she has to lip
right.
sync every once in a while, that's cool cuz like that's exhausting that stuff, right? But when rock bands do it, it kind of pisses me off. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I,
Yeah.
I I tend to be a little more forgiving about it all, unless people go full Milli Vanilli with it.
Yeah.
But if there's backing track playing while they're singing it, I got no fucking problem with that. It's
Really? I don't
and
know. I
yeah,
do.
well, yeah, it's to each their own. But I mean, I don't think it's a major sin for artists to do it because I know from as many artists as I've worked through, I can count on one hand how many of them play
Don't
with
do it.
track. Yeah,
Oh,
so
really?
yeah,
Huh.
and so
Interesting.
it's yeah,
But let's ask it a different way. So let's say you're single and you're pursuing a girl, a woman, and so you're on Instagram looking through all these different pictures of these girls on Instagram or whatever, which is kind of creepy anyways, but or you're on a dating site looking at pictures of girls and they're all filtered and doctored and photoshopped and whatever. Isn't that like similar? Like they're just trying to make themselves look better for you, you know?
yeah, agreed. And it's all about the attraction, isn't it?
Yeah, but then, you know, you know, somebody grabs a guitar and sings you a song by a campfire, and you're like, holy shit, you sound horrible. Like, you sounded amazing on stage, but you sound horrible now.
No, but have you looked at my videos?
Yeah.
Okay. So on there, I'm playing everything
Yeah.
and I'm singing everything,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing it in real time. I'm just
I'm
creating
not,
it.
yeah, I'm not
And
talking
and I
about a video.
but no, hang on though. I know that I'm not a great singer. I mean, I can sing like Neil Young, but when I sing like Rocco, it's nothing extraordinary. It's not
Yeah.
Dimash or anything like that. So what I try to do in my videos is do stuff that nobody's done before. I don't know if you saw my latest one where it's a cover of Kings of Leon,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sex on Fire.
Yeah.
All right. In that one, I put on a green screen onesie.
Oh, is that what that was? I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I
Interesting.
I had vid and I shot it in this college outdoor pavilion type of place that was like a quarter hemisphere
Yeah.
because I was kind of trying to take a piss out of U2's full hemisphere or full
Ah,
sphere, you know.
that's
And I
funny.
just put stuff on there, and I put it on my body and stuff like because you never saw anybody do anything like that. But
That's
I went
cool.
out and I shot that on a January morning inside this college thing, and you're not supposed to be in there, but I just went in and did it anyway. And I
Yeah.
did it. It was nine
Oh, you
degrees
didn't ask
Fahrenheit.
for permission or anything. You just broke in and
Rock
went and did a
rock
video.
and roll is not asking
That's
permission. All right.
hilarious. That's
Yeah.
good.
And
That's
same
good.
thing with my Neil Young things in all the empty venues. I broke in. I didn't ask
Oh
permission.
my
I
God. That's
try. I
hilarious.
tried asking permission, and you have to check with blah 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 and woof 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 and yeah. It's like
Fill
fuck
out an
that.
application, pay a
Yeah.
permitting fee.
So
Yeah.
so I went into that place, and in one take on a morning in January when it was 9 degrees Fahrenheit out, I went in there and I shot my bit in one thing. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's what rock and roll is about. It's not about choreographed. It's not about post cutting things together and the rest of that. I said it's rock and roll, and it cost me nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
that was the
perfect.
most beautiful part. U2 is playing in a $2 billion venue, spending millions of dollars worth of software and hardware to create this big thing, and I did it with an iPhone on a selfie stick.
Really? You're
And
you're using an iPhone to record these videos?
an iPhone 11, you go inside of it and you set it for 1080p, 60 frames per second,
Yeah.
and you get a great picture out of it.
Oh, that's
All right.
awesome. That's really cool.
Now, my next video that I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot April 8th here in Ohio in a town called Marion.
Okay.
And in Marion, there's this, it's long story short, it's this Roman Colosseum looking place that's a memorial to President Harding, who was president like 100 years ago, something
Yeah.
like that. And this building literally is 100 years old. It just turned 100. And I'm going to shoot it there with a drone on April 8th because there's going to be a total eclipse of the sun that day at
Ah,
2:14 in the afternoon, where the sun is going to go completely blank. So,
interesting.
of course, I'm going to do a cover of Pink Floyd's
Ah,
Eclipse.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, brain damage into Eclipse, the lunatic is on the grass, that whole vibe thing there. So
Yeah,
I'm doing it there, and I'm doing it with a drone thing, but I'll use green screen to insert myself inside of this structure and stuff like that, and then do it right as the eclipse is happening
that's cool.
because I can.
You know what
And
you
it's
need
going
to
to
start doing though is you need to get into AI and start doing like the animated Rocco with a band. Have AI create a whole band around you as well, and you still record all the music and everything, but there's a band on these videos, and you're smiling like you've already got one in the. You've already
That's
got one
exactly what
done.
no, that's exactly what I'm going to do
Oh,
actually.
that's awesome. I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing those and then just mess with different cover tunes and stuff. And that'd be amazing. That'd be hilarious. I'd love it.
Well, and that's why I'm doing, nothing but cover tunes because then, it gives people something to throw stones at,
Yeah.
you know. And people love throwing stones.
But I mean, if these bands are causing you a hassle on the copyright and stuff, that sucks. It's like, hey, a 40-year-old song or whatever, you don't want me to go do a cover on YouTube? Come on.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm glad it pissed Don off enough that he paid
Yeah,
because
that's hilarious.
he doesn't do it to everybody, you
Yeah.
know. He only does it to ones that are starting to catch on, and they
Yeah.
have. Yeah, I won't I'm not going to talk out of school, but there are a lot of people employed with just making sure that the Eagles songs are not being stolen from whatever.
Well, now, I mean, they can just do all that with, again, AI. Like, you know, whether it's images, videos, sounds, whatever, they
Well,
can catch it
don't
all
don't
through AI now.
don't tell those 20 guys in Irving A's office because
Yeah, that's true. Huh?
I don't
Yeah,
don't fuck with their gig, man.
that's funny. Didn't you used to open for you two at some of the shows?
I opened for U2 and Pearl Jam in Hawaii in
Yeah,
front of 50,000 people because Bono dared me.
that's crazy.
And, and then after I did that, the other bands that I would go out and tour with heard about it. And actually, I first started doing this roadie band thing on Journey Tour
Yeah,
back in 2004 because we were out doing the state fair circuit and they didn't want to start playing in the summertime as an evening with Journey
yeah, when
starting
it's
at 8
light.
o'clock.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're playing under daylight. And the promoters said, no, we're already paying them $250,000. We're not going to pay for an opening act.
yeah,
So we just said, okay. And we got up on their gear and played. And we didn't get paid, but it ate up time. And we had a blast, you know.
yeah. That's
And the
that's awesome.
and the audience was always very forgiving because they'd look at us and just picture that we're them.
Yeah,
You know,
just
I
regular
mean, I
people.
I could jump off the stage with a microphone and go 20 rows out, and nobody's gonna mob me. If anything, they're gonna get out of my way. This
Yeah.
guy's fucking nuts. And I just stick the mic in their face and let them sing along and just have fun and just have a blast. You know.
I remember last time you told me, I think it was on a Journey tour and you were on a day off or something and you had a party or a barbecue at your house and the band all came over and became a garage
Yeah,
band at your house.
yeah. That's the first.
Played
That's
in
how
the
I met my
garage.
neighbors. Yeah,
What a great way to meet your neighbors.
but that's the
Having
whole thing.
Journey there playing in your garage.
But that's the whole thing that I've used the keys to my career for is just doing goofy, crazy shit that nobody else has ever fucking done
Well,
before.
that's a good one. Like that one
Yeah,
right there, that's a really good one that nobody expects, you know. It's very cool. It's like I like all those Jimmy Fallon videos where you know, he's got him and Miley Cyrus or somebody and they're all like actually I think Bono did it, didn't he? Like
we
where
did it
they
with you
were
too.
yeah, where they
Yeah,
were disguised in the subway station doing a song and
yeah,
nobody paid much attention, like they were just buskers, right? And then all of a sudden it's really Bono, you know, or it's really Miley Cyrus, or it's really whoever, and those are funny. I like
yeah.
those.
But I was there for that actually, and
Were you
no,
really?
and people recognized them before we started, but they're on their way to work. They're like, "Oh wow, you two's there." Okay, just,
That's hilarious.
it's like if you live in LA and you see a movie star walking down the street, you don't go
Yeah,
nuts. Okay, I'm in LA. There's fucking Gene Simmons.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, before the sound gods nail us again, I'm gonna let you get on with your day. It's been fun, and I want to do this again when things are working a little better someday.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, let's keep in touch and let's get you back on again. You're a fun guy to have on the show, and always interesting stories. Even though you're not touring anymore, you've still got interesting stories.
Oh, I've got
And
many, many more.
I know, I know. Well, we'll have to do it again one day. And I apologize for all the technical glitches. I apologize to you and to our audience because that was a pain in the ass.
I apologize to Sarah because I'm very intrigued by her voice,
Oh
and
yeah, she's going like this right now. Yeah,
I'd
it's
like,
me,
I-
me,
I'd
me.
like, I'd like to do some more Scottish for you.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, bye.